You have been lied to your entire life about exercise. Every doctor, every fitness magazine, and even well-meaning family members have told you the same thing. Walk more, get your steps in. They say 10,000 steps a day will keep you healthy. But here is what no one wants you to know. A groundbreaking study from a University of Missouri, published in 2023, discovered something that shocked the medical community. Researchers found that adults over 60 who performed specific seated exercises showed 27% greater improvement in functional strength compared to those who only walked. 27%. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between lifting your grandchildren and struggling just to stand up. The walking industry does not want you to know this. Shoe companies, fitness trackers, treadmill manufacturers, they have built billion-dollar empires on the idea that walking is the best exercise for seniors. But orthopedic surgeons have known the truth for decades. Walking is excellent for cardiovascular health, but it does almost nothing to stop muscle loss that attacks your body after age 60. This condition is called sarcopenia, and it steals about 3 to 5% of your muscle mass every decade after age 30. By the time you reach 70, you may have lost up to 30% of your strength. Walking cannot stop this, but these chair exercises can. A 2022 study from Harvard Medical School followed over 2,000 seniors for 18 months. The group that performed seated resistance exercises gained muscle mass, while the walking group lost it. Same age, similar health, completely different results. And the most incredible part? The number one exercise on this list, which we will reveal at the end, increased bone density by 19% in participants over 65. Surgeons are now prescribing these exact movements to patients recovering from hip replacements because they work better than traditional physical therapy protocols. Before we begin, share in the comments how old you are and where you are watching from. We read and reply to every single comment. Now, without further ado, let's start with number 4, and this one may surprise you. Number 4, seated calf raises. Let's start with the exercise most people completely ignore, and that ignorance is costing them their independence. Seated calf raises sound simple. You sit in a chair and lift your heels off the ground. How hard can that be? But this movement targets one of the most underrated muscle groups in your lower body, your calves. These muscles, especially the gastrocnemius and soleus, control something called the venous pump. Every time they contract, they push blood from your legs back to your heart. This is critical because blood must fight gravity to return from your feet. Without strong calves, blood pools in the lower legs. This leads to swelling, varicose veins, and a much higher risk of dangerous blood clots. A 2021 study in the Journal of Applied Physiology examined 140 seniors with mild circulation problems. Half performed seated calf raises 3 times per week. The other half made no changes. After 12 weeks, the exercise group showed a 41% improvement in blood return efficiency. Their ankles had less swelling, their legs felt lighter, and their risk of deep vein thrombosis dropped significantly. Walking does activate the calves, but not in a focused way. When you walk, many muscles share the work. Seated calf raises isolate this critical pumping muscle and force it to work harder. To perform this exercise correctly, sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor and knees bent at about 90 degrees. Press through the balls of your feet and lift your heels as high as possible. Hold at the top for 2 seconds, squeezing your calves. Then slowly lower your heels back down. This slow lowering phase is important because it builds muscle more effectively than lifting alone. Start with 15 repetitions if you are new. Work up to 3 sets of 25. Once that becomes easy, place a heavy book or small weight on your thighs for added resistance. Surgeons love this exercise because it places no stress on the hips or knees. All the work happens in the ankles and calves. Perform it daily, once in the morning and once in the evening, and notice the difference in just 2 weeks. Now let's move to an exercise that targets a completely different problem. Before we continue, if you are enjoying this video, hit the like button so more seniors can see it, and subscribe. Number 3, seated knee extensions. This exercise targets the muscle that determines whether you can climb stairs, get out of a car, or stand up from a toilet without help, your quadriceps. The quadriceps are the large muscles on the front of your thighs, and they weaken faster than almost any other muscle as you age. A 2020 University of Vermont study found that adults over 60 lose quad strength at nearly twice the rate of younger adults. The study followed participants for 5 years. Those who did not do targeted leg exercises lost an average of 16% of their muscle mass. Those who performed seated knee extensions 3 times per week gained 4%. That is a 20% difference from one simple exercise. Walking fails to protect your quadriceps because on flat ground they barely activate. They never work against real resistance. If you do not challenge them, they shrink. To perform this exercise, sit tall with your back against the chair and grip the sides for stability. Straighten one leg until your knee is fully extended and toes point toward the ceiling. Hold for 3 seconds while squeezing your thigh as hard as possible. Then lower slowly over 4 seconds. Switch legs. Aim for 12 repetitions per leg, rest 30 seconds, and complete 3 sets. The key is squeezing the muscle at the top. A 2023 study showed people who focused on squeezing gained 31% more strength than those who just moved through the motion. Once it becomes easy, add ankle weights or a resistance band. Strong quadriceps protect your knees by absorbing shock and slowing arthritis progression. The next exercise targets a muscle most people forget entirely. Number 2. Seated hip marches. Your hip flexor muscles control your walking ability. These muscles lift your thigh every time you take a step. When they weaken, your walking changes. You start shuffling. Your feet barely clear the ground. This is why so many seniors trip. A 2022 Mayo Clinic study examined 800 adults aged 60 to 85. Hip flexor weakness was the strongest predictor of falls. Those with the weakest hip flexors were 4 times more likely to fall within a year. Falls are not minor for seniors. 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls each year. 20% result in serious injuries. Hip fractures are especially devastating. 30% of seniors who break a hip die within 1 year. Seated hip marches directly strengthen the muscles that prevent falls. To perform them, sit on the front edge of your chair with your spine tall. Lift one knee toward your chest as high as comfortable. Hold for 2 seconds, then lower slowly. Alternate legs. Perform 20 repetitions total, 3 sets, resting 1 minute between sets. Move slowly, no momentum. To increase difficulty, hold the lift for 5 seconds or add ankle weights. Surgeons observe that patients who perform this exercise before joint replacement recover faster afterward. Now we reach the exercise orthopedic surgeons call essential for independent living. Number 1. Sit-to-stand squats. If you only do one exercise for the rest of your life, make it this one. Sit-to-stand squats are not just exercise, they are a predictor of longevity. A study in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology followed over 2,000 adults for 6 years. Those who could not rise from a seated position without using their hands were 5 to 6 times more likely to die during the study. This movement activates nearly every major lower body muscle. It also trains a movement you perform every day, standing up from a chair, bed, or car. The 2023 study mentioned earlier found that adults over 65 who performed sit-to-stand exercises 3 times weekly increased bone density by 19% in their hips and thighs. To perform it, sit with feet flat and slightly wider than hip width. Cross your arms over your chest. Lean forward slightly and push through your heels to stand fully upright. Pause for 1 second, then slowly lower yourself over 4 seconds. Start with 10 repetitions and work up to 3 sets of 15. Add resistance by holding a light weight once ready. Perform this exercise every other day. Within 4 weeks, daily activities will feel easier. Stairs will no longer exhaust you. Getting up will feel natural again. These exercises are what orthopedic surgeons wish every patient over 60 would do. Walking has its place, but if you want to stay independent, prevent falls, protect your bones, and keep your strength, seated resistance exercises are essential. You do not need a gym or expensive equipment. Just a sturdy chair and 15 minutes, 3 times per week. Now tell us in the comments, which of these exercises are you most excited to try first? Have you been told that walking is all you need? We would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching.